welcome to another tutorial of MongoDB. So my name is Prabhat Gautam. I am currently doing BTech from Untitled Chapter. So in this tutorial we will complete some assignments on MongoDB. So we will learn about how to use MongoDB. So firstly we have to open the MongoDB shell, which we can open from the bin folder of the installation of the MongoDB. So click on. So here the MongoDB shell is. So let's move to the problem. First problem is create a database called LabDB. So we will create a database LabDB, and also we have to drop it and see what happens in which database we are currently in after deleting it. So let's do that. So we will use the command use labdb to create the database, and to drop the database you will use the command db dot drop database. So you can see the response is okay. So the labdb is deleted. Let's see in which database we are currently in. So it is still labdb. So this is the answer, that even after dropping the data we are still in the labdb. So to use some another database you have to change to that database by using the use command. So let's again create the labdb database code for the questions. So let's move to another question. Another question is create a collection customers and insert a document and see whether that document inserted correct. So to create any collection we can use simply insert the data. It is automatically created at insert time. So this is the command where you use db.customers.insert and add the document. So let's copy the command and paste it in the cell. So the right result is inserted equal to 1. So let's check whether the insertion is correct or not. So the command for that is the dot find. So you can see the data is inserted. So let's move to another question. So another question include importing a JSON data. So first we have to make the JSON file. So data is given in this assignment itself. So let's copy the data. So we have copied the data. Now we will create our JSON file. So we have to simply create any text and name it as transactions. So let's open it and paste the data. Now we have to save it as a JSON. So click on the all file JSON. So we are saving it in the desktop folder. We have to remember it. So we have successfully created the transactions.json. So let's read the question again, what it is saying. The question is saying that we have to import the data. So the command for that is use the database tools, which is Mongo import. So the command is like Mongo import, the database name and the type of the data. So in our case it is an array of JSON documents. So we will simply add JSON array and then the collection name and then a drop option in order to drop if the transactions collection is already created. We will delete it and create it again. So and the last which is the file name, which is the transaction JSON. So let's copy the command. To run it we have to open another command script cell at the location where we have put the transaction. So so let's open it in the desktop folder. So we will go to the desktop and open the CMD here. Now we will paste the code. So there was some error in the format. So we have again created the JSON file. Let's check it again. So we have to copy the command again paste it. So you can see 4 document imported successfully. So there was the 4 document in the transaction.json. So they have imported the document successfully. So another question is append the records in the same file. So in this case, what is changed is we have removed the drop option because we are inserting to the existing collections. We have not to delete that collection and create it again. So we will use this command and paste it in here. So it is same for document imported service. So we have total 8 documents in the collection transaction. Let's move to another question. Another question is upsert the record from the new file for transaction upsert. So again a new data is given here. So we will copy this data and create another transaction upsert.json. So I have already did that. So I will just, so in here you can see we have another option for the upsert case. So we will copy the command and paste it in there. So there were 6 documents in this transaction file. So it is imported successfully. Let's move to another question. So another question is create a collection and load data from a CSV file. So we will need a CSV file with multiple rows. So we have to load data. So I have already created a CSV file in my desktop folder, which is a bank data. So it contains some data about the bank. So here is some data. You can see that it is multi-row and multi-column CSV file. So you will use this file. So what's the command? The command includes the Mongo import again, the database name, collection name. So we create a new collection bank data, the type of the file which is CSV. So we are also mentioning header line as option because we want the keys from the header row, and lastly the location of the file. So we will copy this command and run it in our cell. You can see 600 rows which were there in the CSV is imported successfully. So let's move to another question. So now the question use the transactions collection we have created in the experiment 2. So let's move to first question, which is find any record where name is Tom. So simply use find function and give the parameter name is Tom. So you will copy this code and run it in the Mongo shell. Remember we have to use now Mongo shell. So you can see there is 2 object for the name Tom. Let's move to another question. So in this question we have to find any record where total payment amount is 400. So we will again use the find function, and this time the parameter is the payments dot total, and we have to match it with 400. So we'll use this command and use in the Mongo shell. So these are the records having the payment total is equal to 400. You can see. So there is a command and these are the results. So let's move to another question. Here we have to use the transaction or price and see whether it is greater than 400. So use the parameter transaction price and another special keyword which is GT, which match that it is greater than 400 or not. So we'll paste that code. So this is the only record where the payment transaction dot price is greater than 400. Let's move another question. We have to find any record where note is null or key itself is missing. So we will simply have to find whether the note is there or not. So we will use the again find function, and within the parameter we have to add note equal to null. So we have copied the query. We have to run. So these are the records where the note is missing or null. So let's move to another question. We have to find again the note exists and its value is null. So you again the same function find and give the parameter note is equal to the null. So when we have find, we will get some object which where the note value is null. You can see. So another question is with the not key does not exist. So we will use the parameter exist and give it the parameter false. So these are the records where we can see not is not there. There are only two records. Move to another question. This question is aggregation. So the first question is total transaction amount of total. So you use the aggregate function. As we can have to find only one value for all the entire documents, you use the group param keyword, and we have to use the sum keyword to sum up the payment dot total. You copy this query and paste it. So you can see this is the total revenue for all the documents. Move to another question. We have to find the total price per, but this time per record. So we will use the aggregate function, but this time not group but project to find per record data, and we have to find the sum again. So we are using the sum keyword for the transaction dot price. Let's copy the query. So these are the per record document data for the transaction price. Move to another question. We have to find now the payment dot total for each payment type. So the rest part is same. Here we have to provide another parameter for our ID, which will use the payments dot type. So to differentiate the data, so you use this query, and you can see you are getting data for each payment type. The another question is finding the max ID. So we will simply copy use the max parameter for the ID column, and let's copy the query. You can see the max ID is 105 from all the documents. The last question is the finding the maximum transaction price. So you are again using the group because we are searching in the entire document. And in max price we are giving 2 max because there can be multiple transaction price in the single document, so it is like nesting the maximum. So we are finding the global maximum here. So you can see this is the global maximum for all the transaction price. Let's move to another section. So here we have to insert a record in the transaction database. So we have created a record with some random data value. So let's just insert this. So you get a message of inserted one, so you know that the data is inserted. Move to another question. We have to update the record and make some changes like this. Name is updated, record note is updated. So first we will use the update function and then use the parameter to find the document. So we are using the unique property of document, which is ID, which is 110 in this case. So you will do that, and then we will make the changes by using the set keyword and change the name to updated record, note is updated. You can see the output. The matched one means it matched one row, and it modified one, it has updated one record. Let's move to the last question, which is the record, deleting the record. So we will use the remove function and give the ID equal to 110 of the document to delete the document. So when we run this query, you will get the output remove the one, so the document is deleted. So this complete our tutorial for the assignments of MongoDB.